No DQ Galaxy. We are live with the NoDQ.com recap of Monday Night Raw for March 21st, 2022. We are getting very close to WrestleMania, less than 2 weeks away until the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time, until next year's WrestleMania, of course, which will be another term that means the greatest of all time. They'll come up with something different. Before we get started here, I wanted to address Hamp Connell's $5 super chat from Friday. I signed off before I could read it. He says, why do they have to get everybody on the show, WrestleMania? It's very annoying when they could do something like an Iron Man match, and he puts in parentheses, morale. Pretty much that's what it is. It's about the morale, getting everybody on the show, making sure that everyone gets that WrestleMania payday and that opportunity to be part of the big show. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, I totally get it. It would be better to have your biggest matches at WrestleMania. There's really no need to have a bunch of filler matches just as an excuse to get everybody on the show. And they do all these multi-way matches, triple threat matches, fatal four-ways, battle royals. They're just doing it to get everybody on the show. That's really all it is. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but that's what they do. Anyways, we kicked off Monday Night Raw with the glass shattering. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Except it wasn't Stone Cold. It was Kevin Owens dressed up like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Hamp Connell sent in another $5 super chat, says, I will be ranting through this entire review. Don't worry, I will stay on topic, but I just hate the stupidity in that company today. I know, Hamp, and I definitely sympathize with people that do not like the creative direction in WWE. Anyways, Kevin Owens was wearing a bald cap on the top of his head. He cut this promo mimicking Steve Austin, doing the what chants, said that he doesn't do much thinking, and the crowd, of course, chanted, we want Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then the music hit again. Stone Cold's music played for the second time, but nobody came out. It was another fake out. This was a very similar promo to Shawn Michaels on Raw back in 2005 to set up the match with Hulk Hogan at that year's SummerSlam. And this was well done too. To me, nothing tops that Michaels promo as far as trolling the audience goes, but the crowd in Chicago, they were not amused by this. The production team kept cutting away to fans in the crowd, and they were pissed off. I was enjoying this. This was a really fun segment. And then Owens had some guy, the stagehand, throw out the beers, but Owens kept missing, and then Owens called the stagehand into the ring to bring in a beer, and then Owens ended up giving that person the Kevin Owens stunner. Fun segment here, like I said, to open up the show. I enjoyed it. Backstage, Seth Rollins was talking about, well, he was interviewed about not having a WrestleMania opportunity, and he just laughed. And as he was laughing, the crowd erupted in a Cody chant, chanting for Cody Rhodes, a very loud chant. So that pretty much rules out the idea that Cody is going to get booed. I know some people have been suggesting it, thinking it might happen. But to me, this crowd was ready for Cody Rhodes, and they were very excited about the idea of him coming in to face Seth Rollins. More on that in a little bit. We had the Mysterios, Rey and Dominic, against the Dirty Dogs. Robert Roode, and the NXT champion, Dolph Ziggler. Rollins interrupted early on in the match and got on the mic, talked about how he wants a WrestleMania spot. Crowd was singing his song. They were into Rollins, I will say that. And Rollins's mic kept cutting out as he was trying to cut his promo, and I guess that was done because he should not have been interrupting the match, or maybe that was a legit problem and they had to work that into the storyline. Not really sure. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It says, April 4th, the greatest debut is finally happening at long last. LOL. Yes, I will jump to this real quick because it's such breaking news, everybody. April 4th, Raw after Mania, Veer is finally arriving on Monday Night Raw. It is going to be a glorious night. And I think he's going to get a huge babyface pop when he comes out there. Raw after Mania, we've all missed those great episodes of Raw coming off WrestleMania. And this one should be the greatest of all time. Veer is going to be finally arriving after coming for the better part of 6 months now. Hab Khanna with a $2 super chat says, I am so sick of commercials after every entrance. Well, I'm kind of sick of commercials after there's something that happens on the outside of the ring. Somebody takes a bump, does a dive or whatever, and then Michael Cole or one of the other announcers says, can this guy get back into the match? Raw continues live, and then it goes to the commercial. Feel like that's a bit overdone. Anyways, back to the tag team match after the commercial break. The match did continue. Dominic pinned Rude with the frog splash, and afterwards, Ziggler attacked Dominic, and then The Miz gave Rey Mysterio a skull-crushing finale on the floor and ripped off the mask. Yes, the mask of Rey Mysterio ripped off. You know what? I like the angle, but it's been done so much. We've seen Rey Mysterio unmasked before, and hell, this angle has been done before with Rey's mask being ripped off. Nothing new, but I guess it's good heat for The Miz, so whatever. Mr. Anderson with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mr. Anderson. He says, Veer Mahan is arriving April 4th. Will be a late April Fool's joke on WWE's part. There are people that still think that Veer is going to show up and turn right into a comedy gimmick like Brodus Clay. People still think that. I think they just need to let him go out there and kick ass. You might just make a new star because he's going to get that superstar pop. Let him come out there and just beat the crap out of like 2 or 3 people. Let him kick some ass and be this badass instead of making him the laughing stock of Monday Night Raw, which they very well may go in that direction, but I hope they don't. We had Seth Rollins backstage, and he wants the biggest spotlight possible. And Adam Pearce said that Rollins acting like a lunatic will not give him what he wants. However, Pearce said maybe there is something that they can do. Then we had Miz interviewed, basically just said that he humiliated the Mysterios, held up the mask, yada, yada, yada. We then had Omas versus Apollo Crews and General Aziz in a handicap match. Pretty much what you would expect. Aziz provided a distraction. Crews attempted to get the upper hand, and they worked together. They sent Omas into the post and didn't really last long as far as their momentum. Very quickly, Omas regained the upper hand. He slammed Aziz, and then he did the tree slam to Cruz and pinned both guys at the same time. Jose Garza says, Omas squashing the future endeavored. Yeah, you might be right on this one. I think that this could be the end of Apollo. Like they were on to something at the beginning when they turned him heel, but then they kind of ruined it, and I haven't really cared about him much since. Sam sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Sam. I appreciate it. Says, will Cody Rhodes be at Raw next week to answer Seth Rollins' question to have a match with him at WrestleMania 38? Well, I will answer that after we get to the end of Raw, because maybe Cody Rhodes showed up at the end of Raw. I got to get through to the end of this, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. Thank you again, Sam. And at this time, there has been no announcement of a battle royal. And if they do one, they might end up doing it on Raw or SmackDown next week. But at this point, nothing has been announced. After this match with Omas, by the way, he got on the mic and said he is unstoppable, and he wants to know if anybody has the balls to face him, whether it's Raw or WrestleMania. Now, there is a rumor that Omas is going to have a match at WrestleMania, and maybe it will be against Bobby Lashley, who has been injured, but could end up being back in time for WrestleMania. I guess that might be an interesting match. It could be decent. I think Bobby Lashley should beat him, and let's end this Omas charade for the time being, because I mean, the guy's okay, but I think there are better guys out there to book as monsters than Omas. Just feel like he's very generic. He's got the size, but really that's the only thing he's got going for him. He's like a modern day Great Khali. I wasn't the biggest Great Khali fan. Just I think I would prefer a guy a little bit smaller who was better in the ring. Anyways, AJ Styles came down to the ring. And by the way, Hamp Connell sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. Says, I'm thinking it'll be Kane. He's supposed to be there. Could be, if Bobby Lashley's not ready. That's always a possibility. Never say never. And yeah, Omas not that great on the mic either. He cut this promo and, well, wasn't too good. So we had AJ Styles come to the ring, and he talked about his time off due to the concerto from Edge. He said the time off can be a dangerous thing because he watched the footage repeatedly and he felt like he was going to go crazy. He's not there looking for answers, though. He just wants to shove Edge's teeth down his throat. He called out Edge, but instead, Seth Rollins showed up. Crowd started chanting for Cody again, and Rollins said that rumors are a lot of fun, but rumors do not make moments. And Styles was wondering what the hell he's doing there. Rollins said he is concerned about Styles' well-being, suggested that Styles go home, be with his family, come back after Mania, and let Rollins take care of Edge and finish what he wanted to do back at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view in that Hell in a Cell match. Styles said no. Rollins then suggested a match with the winner going on to face Edge. And then Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville arrived. Styles did not want to do it, but Pearce decided that Rollins will get one last chance to get to WrestleMania. And that was set up for the main event. And yeah, this whole storyline where Seth Rollins keeps losing. Like, first of all, Seth Rollins is one of your top guys. And why is he struggling to get a WrestleMania match? Why would you not get him a WrestleMania opponent? He's one of your big attractions. And the fact that he keeps losing to set up a match with somebody, does he lose again to Cody and that's yet another loss? Or does Cody lose in his first match back to Seth Rollins? Like, the booking here is really odd. It's a strange storyline. but they're going with it, and yeah, that's that. We had Zelina Vega backstage venting. She was mad at Carmella because Carmella is preoccupied with other things instead of their tag titles. Carmella was on her phone. Zelina knocked the phone out of Carmella's hand, and then Carmella slapped Zelina, and the two of them fought. So I guess this storyline was, can the tag team champions coexist? I wonder where I've seen this one before. We had AJ Styles backstage. He was very angry with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. And then we had a tag team match, holla, holla, holla. We had Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley against Natalya and Shayna Baszler. Carmella was out there, and she was venting to Corey Graves about her tag team partner. And meanwhile, in the ring, Liv went to tag out Rhea Ripley, but Shayna Baszler pulled Rhea Ripley off the apron. And then Natalya and Shayna hit the heart attack. They pinned Liv Morgan. And then afterwards, Zelina Vega ran down, used the scepter on Rhea Ripley, and then Carmella got in the ring, attacked Natalya. Then we had a little face-off between the tag champs, but then they hugged, and all was right with the tag team champions. They're good. They're back on good terms, and they got a little bit of momentum now heading into WrestleMania, I suppose. I really do not care about this match. I have little to no interest in it. I think it's just a match, as Hamp Connell said, it's a match to get everybody on the card. We had big time Bex. Becky Lynch come to the ring for a promo. She took out Bianca Belair last week, who was not on the show this week. And Becky cut a promo, talked about how she was forced to give up her title when she got pregnant, and she knew she would do whatever it took to get it back. And once the people chose Bianca Belair over her, that's when she knew she would sell her soul to keep her title. And she said that Bianca Belair doesn't have what it takes to beat her. Promo was fine, but it's one of those turns that's still being force-fed on people, and they're really trying to sell this narrative that people chose Bianca Belair over Becky Lynch, which really wasn't the case at all. People were mad about the finish, that it was 26 seconds, but I think that they're really trying to build up sympathy towards Bianca Belair. Will it work at WrestleMania? Time will tell. Backstage, we had Austin Theory interviewed, and he said that Pat McAfee had a great NFL career but has no business being in the ring against him at WrestleMania. And then we had Austin Theory versus Finn Balor, number 537. Seriously, if we had more Balor versus Theory matches, or if we had more Bianca Belair versus Doudrop matches, I'm really curious which one has been done more at this point. But anyways, Pat McAfee was out there at ringside as a special guest commentator, and he kept getting involved through the whole match. He mocked Austin Theory, did some crotch chops, and Finn Balor took advantage of that, sending Theory into the barricade. Theory did gain control after the commercial break, and then Pat McAfee got by the apron, started pounding on it. Balor made a comeback, went for the coup de grace, but Theory avoided it. Then McAfee got on the apron. Theory went for the ATL, but Balor countered that. And then it went back to Theory in control. McAfee got on the apron yet again, and then Balor picked up the win with a cradle. So yeah, it was basically just Pat McAfee antagonizing Austin Theory through the entire match. And Finn Balor wins, I guess, building up his momentum for whatever he's doing. They haven't set up the match with Damian Priest for WrestleMania yet, so who knows if that's even happening. And they continue the build for Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. I mean, McAfee made this entertaining, but the whole thing was kind of goofy, in my opinion. We then had RK-Bro versus Alpha Academy, number 367. Before the match, Chad Gable did a promo. Shoosh did all his stuff about how they're going to get their vengeance, and they brought up Chicago's crime rate, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, match was pretty solid. Riddle got a hot start, but then he got bum rushed by Otis on the outside of the ring. You know what that means. Commercial break. Raw continues. Can RK-Bro get back in it? Afterwards, they worked over Riddle for a while. Orton got the hot tag, and then Riddle tagged back in, and Riddle hit Gable with the Bro Derek to pick up the victory. So, way to build up your challengers for the tag team titles. I mean, you don't want the champions losing either, but why even book this match? Why not book Alpha Academy against, Hurt Business or some team that you're not doing anything with, just to build up the challengers instead of having them lose? Whatever. That's how WWE does things. And then Street Profits ran down, and they made the save because Otis attacked Riddle. Street Profits took out Otis, but then they went after Riddle as well. Every man for himself. Some people think it's the beginning of a heel turn, but hell, if I was challenging for the titles, I would take out both teams and send a message. So that's what they did. Montez Ford did the big frog splash, and that was that. This was fine. Just I don't understand having one team that's challenging for the titles losing. Like, just book a different match. Hap Connell sent in a $5 super chat, says, here's the WWE logic. Seth needs an opponent and Finn Balor doesn't have one either, but Seth is crying when he could challenge Finn for the title. Logic. Well, here's the thing, too. If you're Seth Rollins and you need a match for WrestleMania, why not just show up on SmackDown and attack Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns? That'll get you a match at WrestleMania. It got Natalya and Shayna Baszler a match. Why not do the same thing? Maybe that's what they're going to do on Raw. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but maybe Seth Rollins attacks Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw to try to get one last opportunity for WrestleMania. And then he loses again and then sets up a match with Cody. Anyways, we had Dana Brooke and Reggie versus Tamina and Tozawa in a tornado tag team match. I did not care about this match. I had little to no interest in this match. Thankfully, it was short and relatively painless. Reggie fell on Tozawa's crotch, or I think it was his stomach, but they acted like it was his crotch, and then Tozawa got pinned. That's really all I have to say about it. It was just a filler match to take up a few minutes of time and give us a laugh with Tozawa's crotch being headbutted. We had our main event of the evening, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. Winner gets to face Edge at WrestleMania. The entrances started at 10:30 and the match actually got going at 10:35. And I was thinking, this is interesting. Maybe Cody Rhodes shows up at the end. Although, to be honest with you guys, I wasn't really expecting it on this show. I felt like they're going to go the WrestleMania 34 route. Was it 34 with Cena and Undertaker, where Cena had no path to WrestleMania, same kind of deal? That's what it felt like. And I think that's what they're doing. I don't think we see Cody Rhodes until WrestleMania. So anyways, really good main event match here, although you had your screwy finish, which we'll get to here shortly. Walter Cruz sent in a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. I appreciate it. Says, That was an awesome main event, sucky ending, but hell of a match. Also, I feel like maybe Seth's losing streak leads to him going back to SmackDown, get momentum back, and he gets a push again as a face. Yeah, they could always do that. Do a trade or something. Trade him over to SmackDown and get somebody from SmackDown onto Raw. They could always do it. Anyways, Rollins attempted the pedigree early, but got dumped over the top rope. Styles hit a forearm coming out over the top, but then later on, Rollins regained control. Styles almost got counted out at one point. Rollins worked him over for a while and then started his trash talking, telling Styles that it's nothing personal. Styles needs to be with his family. Rollins said he needs this. He called Styles a dumb son of a bitch, slapped him. That lit a fire under Styles' ass. He made a comeback. The two of them went back and forth, traded some near falls, and Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, but got hit with a super kick. Then Rollins hit the buckle bomb, went for a big splash, but Styles got his knees up, and then Styles went for the phenomenal forearm again, but this time he was stopped by Edge. Edge came in with a steel chair, causing the disqualification, which I guess is better than Rollins getting pinned, right? But still, you do a really long match, you get people invested in it, and then you do a DQ. Better than doing it on pay-per-view, though, I suppose. Seth Rollins was very upset. He started yelling out, "This is bullshit." And they tried to censor it, but he kept saying it over and over again. And at least one time it got past the censor. Rollins said that Raw will not happen next week until he gets his WrestleMania moment. Crowd was once again chanting Cody. Rollins destroyed everything at ringside. He destroyed the announce table. He destroyed the ring post, threw the steps around. He was just completely wreaking havoc as Monday Night Raw went off the air. I really think they should have had Cody come out at the end, just play his music. He shows up on the stage, big cliffhanger, get people to tune in next week for the go home show. I think they should have done that. But again, I think they're going the WrestleMania 34 route where Rollins shows up at WrestleMania and Cody Rhodes shows up to confront him. Maybe they don't even do a match. Maybe they just do a confrontation and that's Cody's reintroduction into WWE, because Rollins kept using the term moment. So maybe he's not having a match. He's just going to have the WrestleMania moment where Cody shows up and takes him out and they don't even have an official match. I would not be surprised if that's what they end up doing. Walter Cruz with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, how does Tozawa still have two names? LOL. That's a great question. That has got to be one of life's mysteries. How Tozawa still has a first and last name. Guess Vince likes the guy. Vince must find him really funny, and that's why he gets to keep his first name. BTH with the $2 super chat says, can't wait for the promos from Cody taking digs at AEW. I do not think he will be doing that. I don't think they'll be referencing AEW, but if they do, I think Cody will say something in a positive light. But would not shock me if he just says he came back because he wants to be WWE champion and keep it straightforward and not reference his past. But hey, they might. You never know. DJW sent in a $9.99 super chat. Thank you for that, DJ. I appreciate it. Says, what's up, Aaron? That mic work from KO tonight was some of the best he has done in his career. I legit thought Austin was coming to open the show. Finally, some real heel heat, brother. Yeah, I thought it was great. I love the crowd reactions. And Taz went on Twitter and tried to act like it was too soon since the Revolution buy-in show when Don Callis came to the ring to Kenny Omega's music. To me, it wasn't really like that. And I got the Shawn Michaels Montreal 2005 vibes from this promo. with KO doing the trolling and having the music play a second time. That was Shawn Michaels. And my guess is that was probably the influence, not Don Callis at the Revolution buy-in show. Sorry, Taz. Hamp Connell sent in a $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, I don't understand why they're doing this. Everybody knows Cody has signed. They're not going to sell any more tickets at this point. They tried this with Undertaker and Cena, and it did not work one bit. I'm with you on that. I think Cody should have shown up tonight. I think that would have gotten a huge pop in Chicago, and that would have been a nice cliffhanger for next week. And hey, might have sold a few extra tickets. I mean, you would think people are going to know Cody is showing up anyways, but I think that if you actually announce it and it's 100% a sure thing, you might get a few more ticket sales. Maybe not a lot, but a few. And I don't think he's going to show up next week. I mean, it is in Pittsburgh, which is a decent wrestling city, but not Chicago level. I think Cody's showing up at WrestleMania. I don't think they're going to have him show up beforehand. Although maybe they will because we think it's not going to happen. And they want to try to make it a surprise as much as possible. TJS sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Tyler. He says, Triple H over Booker T or John Cena over Mark Henry? Which was the worst booking decision overall? Also, do you want Austin to have an actual match? Triple H over Booker T was dumb. That match was a huge disappointment. And, the whole thing with Triple H cutting that promo on Booker T was pretty offensive. And even back then, people thought it was in bad taste. And then, of course, Triple H beats him. So, yeah, people were not liking that back then. I think fans today think, back then, your Attitude Era Ruthless Aggression fans had no morals and, they liked all the offensive storylines. But people did not like that back then. So, yeah, it was not a good storyline. And that was called the Triple H Reign of Terror. And as far as Austin having an actual match, yeah, I said this a couple weeks ago. I think they need to go all the way. Like, don't go halfway, no half measures. You got to go the full measure. If Austin's coming back and he's going to have a fight with Kevin Owens, then just make it a match. This brawl thing, like, you're not committing. Go all the way or don't do it, in my opinion. Brian Spencer sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Brian. I appreciate it. Says, Seth is so good in the ring, he really needs to get rid of the goofy laughing character. Now, see, I like it. I like it as a heel gimmick. As long as he's going to be a heel, I think they should do it. I think it's better than the Monday Night Messiah gimmick that he was doing before. I think it's pretty entertaining, kind of feels like the Joker a little bit. So I'm a fan of it. I think he's doing good stuff with it. And this is the best version of Seth Rollins we've had since probably 2019, before the whole Hell in a Cell fiasco. Maybe even before that. So as far as the show goes, overall, I think it was a fairly decent show. I would probably give it a B-. Not a great Raw, but Chicago crowd was good, and the build-up was fairly solid. And I suppose the Rollins storyline is interesting, and they're holding off on it. Not sure if I would have gone in this direction, but I'm intrigued to see what's next. And next week, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar will be on Raw for the final build-up for WrestleMania. It was an all right Raw, B-, solid. I would say a somewhat recommend, but again, it's probably one of those shows where you could just watch the YouTube clips and you'll get the gist of it. Really don't need to watch the entire thing. I mean, rarely would I say you need to watch the entire thing. And quick plug for good old JM Jeff Meacham. He'll be back Tuesday night after NXT with Talk Wrestling. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And that's all I got tonight. It is late. I'm ready for bed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. We got a lot of content coming up. I think 13 straight nights of live streaming starting on Wednesday. So tomorrow is actually going to be my last night without a live stream for the foreseeable future. Gonna have a nice night off tomorrow night, but then Wednesday, all the way through WrestleMania and after, we got live streams here on the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and just spread the word. Tell a friend. Anything you can do to help out the channel would be very much appreciated. And yes, 14 if we're counting. Well, this is a stream tonight, so it would be consecutive starting with tonight. But for me, it'll be 13 starting on Wednesday. Jeff will be coming back for Talk Wrestling, so make sure you guys tune in. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your week. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. See you next time.